The clock is ticking. That's
Awesome.
exciting.
Yeah, whoever would like to start. We have some time here.
Are you going to release your tax returns, and does it depend on whether Zach Blaine
Oh.
releases his?
I haven't thought about that. I imagine we probably will.
Does it depend on whether Zach Blaine releases his?
This is not a thing I've put time into thinking about.
Okay.
Sorry,
No
I'm
problem.
gonna ask you about cows and pigs if I'm not careful, so.
You can ask me about cows and pigs. I'm for them, generally.
What's your favorite part of the county fair? Which actually, going from that, what do you think the most important things you would do as governor to support Iowa farmers?
Oh, sure. You know, I think that Iowa farmers are stretched pretty thin right now. They've seen markets disappear because of tariffs at the federal level. They've seen a lot of their federal elected officials basically try to convince them that all of this is going to be just fine and dandy because those federal officials are more concerned about what their political boss thinks than what their constituents think. And I think one of the things that we can do to that, for that, is help them find those markets, but also, you know, we've been talking a lot in this state about water quality, and every year there are more farmers signing up for conservation programs, and politicians won't support the programs at the levels that the farmers want to participate. And so you get people who are out there growing and producing who would like to implement cover crops or like to add a saturated buffer or the like, and they're not getting support from politicians for doing it. I think that's really one of the keys for our water quality, is making sure that the folks that are out there have the opportunity to participate at the levels they actually want to and are encouraged to do it.
Have you had a chance to look at, Chris Jones just released a farm to school plan. Is that something you had? I think it literally just came out today, so you may not have had a chance to look at it.
I haven't looked at
Okay.
any other statewide candidates' plans for anything. I've got one race to win.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll say this. I mean, I've been a supporter of local and regional food systems for a long time. In fact, my wife just sent me a video of our son and his friend who attend different public school districts in the Des Moines metro area, saying that they have some local foods in their lunches right now. I think we should be doing more of that. It's a really good way to support beginning farmers. It's a good way to make sure that our kids have some level of connection to agriculture, which I think is important in this state in particular. But it's also a really good way to continue to fuel our economy, because at the end of the day, if you have tax dollars that are getting spent by a school district, for example, to be feeding our kids, the more that we can encourage them to spend that money on someone that is in Iowa and going to keep that money in Iowa, the more money stays in Iowa. And the more money changes hands in the state of Iowa, the better off we all are.
Is there, I know there was an article, I think, in the Register about, you know, having a lot of Republicans come visit, which is lovely. What do you think is there one issue that you see as converting people from a I'll try Rob Sand to a I'm sold on Rob Sand?
I think it's a lot of issues, and you'd have to ask different Republicans. We have 2,400 Republican Iowa donors. That's more donors than my opponent has in total. A lot of them are really upset about the lack of accountability in the school vouchers program. Some are upset about the program in general. A lot of them are just done after they watched, allegedly, the party that is against government waste take away the power of the auditor's office to conduct audits. There's a good chunk of people who are Trump supporters because he's not your standard politician, and they like me because they see me the same way. And then you've also got people who really appreciate the fact that I think that the two-party system is broken, and I say so, because they feel the same way, and they're excited to see someone who's doing what I'm doing is actually saying what they've been feeling for decades sometimes.
There's a constitutional amendment on the ballot in November that would make it almost impossible to raise income or corporate taxes. Are you going to vote for that amendment, or would you encourage Iowans to vote for it?
That one I haven't read the language on yet, so if you're going to amend the Constitution, it's a pretty serious process. You'd want to make sure that you get it right and you're careful on it, and I haven't read it.
Many questions, great and small. starting small.
Shoot.
How'd you choose your campaign colors?
Oh boy. You're asking me to go back to the very beginning here. I mean, I wanted to do something non-traditional, I can tell you that. Blaze orange is something I wear a lot, particularly in early December, for first season shotgun. And I'm an outdoorsy guy, I like to be outside, so green was kind of a natural choice as well.
Not red or blue. Funny how the slogan goes.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Those were developed separately for what it's worth.
Okay.
But yes.
Another question that seems completely random. Yesterday you mentioned at Brown inventing a class on conservatism.
Yeah.
What inspired you and what'd you figure out from that class you created?
I guess at the end of the day, I really did want to have more exposure to what I felt were conservative ideas, and I was going to an institution that has a very strong and well-earned reputation for being a liberal one. Now that said, on the other hand, they also let me put together a class on conservatism. It wasn't always popular with students, but there were enough people that wanted to take it. We had a great experience. One of the things that was the biggest picture takeaway to me has less to do with policy and more to do with human nature. Because we would sit down and have 2.5-hour conversations once a week. And through the course of those conversations, we'd find where even if we started the conversation thinking that we would disagree, we actually underneath that, if we dug long enough, found a general agreement in the direction that we wanted to go and what the idea of good looked like. It's just that we disagreed on the route to take to get to that good.
And presumably you all created it, chose the readings.
Yeah.
Did you do that yourself? Did you lead
No. Stephen Beal is a guy who was a year ahead of me. He was an outspoken conservative columnist in the newspaper. And so I approached him and told him what I wanted to do and asked him to help me build a syllabus for it because he knew the ideas better than I did. And once he figured out that I wasn't joking, he was very excited about that.
Is there one, going down that road, is there one conservative idea that you sort of say, this is what I really like?
I'm a big believer that you should empower local officials more than people who are higher up and further away. This is traditionally conservative, but our legislature has been doing the opposite of it now for 10 years. I think there's a list of 70 ways in which they've removed local control from counties and cities and school districts. I'm going to give you 3 reasons that I think that this is true, and I formed this belief, I would say, in that class. Number 1, the smaller an area you're looking at, the more those people are going to know what their strengths and weaknesses are in order to address an issue, because it's going to be, that community is going to have different strengths and weaknesses, and they'll be able to form a solution that works better for them locally. Number 2, you can have a lot of experimentation at the local level, meaning you can have opportunities for people to find things that work really well. Not everything will work for every place, but if you have 30 places that are fairly similar to each other and they try 10 different things among them, 2 of those things might work really well and then they can be replicated. Number 3, I think that local officials are a lot more accountable to the people that they represent because they're surrounded by the people that they represent every day. Federal representatives, state representatives can disappear. They don't have to look people in the eye whose lives they're impacting. They don't do stuff like we're going to do here, again, one of 100 town halls this year, where they're willing to let people come in and ask them questions. Local folks don't get to escape from the consequences of their decision or the consequences of their decision for the people that they represent. And so they do a better job, I think, of having true integrity and loyalty to represent the people that are around them every day. That doesn't mean that we always agree with our local elected officials, but it does mean that we can look them in the face and tell them that we disagree, and that it's oftentimes easier to end up beating them in an election than in a much bigger, more expensive campaign.
Is the voucher program unconstitutional?
I don't think so.
I've only gone to 2 of these, but are you making a conscious decision not to mention Donald Trump by name at these town halls?
No.
Do you sometimes mention him? Or?
No.
No.
I'm the state auditor of Iowa, running to be the governor of Iowa. Why would I talk about the president? I've never talked about, I was state auditor doing town halls as under a Democratic president. I didn't talk about him either. There's really this is one of the things that truly to me is just absolutely confusing. Why is it that we would expect that all conversations would be about one person in one office? Right, the issues are different, the government is literally different. You know, I'm ready to be the head of the Iowa government. I understand that whoever that person is, I suppose you could say at the top of the food chain, but it doesn't matter who it is. My job is to serve Iowans.
I guess one reason that one might mention Donald Trump is the power that he has over Iowa. There are obviously state officials who would sue Donald Trump, for example, or take issue with him. You might have a role in that as a governor. That might be one reason.
I guess that's going to depend on who your candidates are and what they think the priority of public service is. If they're really partisan, they might go ahead and run advertisements saying they're going to sue somebody. That's what our Attorney General did in 2022, our new Attorney General, just saying that she was going to sue the president. I tend to think that whether you're going to file a lawsuit ought to be determined by what the facts are and what the law is, and not who the president is. So to me, that just seems weird. Yeah.
Any final questions from folks?
How much of influence on your race is the congressional candidates in the Democratic Party?
I don't think much. I mean, I'm running my own race. My approach to politics is different than probably everybody else in the state, let alone the party. I think I say a lot of the things that other people think, but I've mostly been running events where, you know, there might be candidates here, but I don't typically acknowledge them. And, you know, at the end of the day, again, kind of like I was saying to Peter, I'm the state auditor running to be the governor.
There's at least two, I don't know if there's any more.
Here tonight.
I saw two.
Would that be, I suppose that's Spencer and Annika?
I did not see them yet.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. I think that is all the time we have. If you folks want to head out